globally at this point in time. Johnson & Johnson's baby powder, and this is for you if you're one of the users. Johnson & Johnson, the famed company for making baby products, has proposed to pay about $9 billion to resolve tens of thousands of lawsuits that it's currently facing in North America. The allegations are serious. That is, that the baby powder and other talc-based products can cause cancer. The company is facing more than 40,000 lawsuits from former customers who say that they used the talc and it caused cancer for them. Some allegations are also that the product contains cancer-causing asbestos. Now, Johnson & Johnson's stopped the sales of its talc-based product back in 2020 in the United States and in Canada. And last year, it also announced plans to end sales globally. But remember, the baby powder continues to be available here in India. Now, before the decision, the company had sold the baby powder for almost 130 years. The company continues to deny that its talcum powder poses any health risk, saying that the settlement offer does not constitute an admission of wrongdoing, and it says that the powder is safe, but had to end the sales of the powder because of the negative publicity around it. That, of course, is a very important story that revolves around consumers here in India and also abroad. With me continues to be Saurabh. Also here with me in the studio is Karthik. Karthik, there seems to be no end to Johnson & Johnson's troubles.
And rightly so, Shweta. I mean, they've been selling the product for the last 130 years. And what they're facing in the US and the world over right now is the classical class action, right? So this is a complete tort lawsuit. There are people coming out in thousands, 40,000 or so lawsuits. But unfortunately, the company continues to insist that this is misinformation and there is no scientific evidence around the fact that, that there are ingredients in the talcum powder that could cause cancer. Okay. In India, of course, and not just in India, I think globally, Johnson's babies used to be, you know, this typical cuddly child smelling of excellent fragrance of the Johnson powder. And I remember in my childhood and in my growing up years as well, you know, a newborn child would always be gifted this Johnson's hamper, and that would be the most treasured gift that Absolutely. The parents would continue to use for a long time. I have a daughter, thankfully, you know, our pediatrician had advised us not to use any cosmetics altogether. So thankfully, you know, we never fell into that trap. But there are many, including me and many others of our generations and beyond, who've grown up on these cosmetic products, including those from Johnson & Johnson. So, yeah, I mean, a $9 billion penalty, okay, sure, or, you know, sort of trying to offset whatever is happening right now. All right, but is that enough to sort of, you know, wish away a lawsuit and get out of it smelling of talcum powder, if not smelling of roses? Okay. But I think it has to translate to the rest of the world as well. Absolutely. So if there is enough merit in the argument in one court of justice in the world, the same should apply for other countries as well. And Absolutely. I think if there is any iota of doubt that a product may not be safe for children to apply, it has to be pulled off the shelves immediately.
That is correct. Saurabh, tell us how serious are these allegations? We know that Johnson & Johnson has been battling those allegations, not just for the talcum powder, but variety of other products, but talcum powder in particular, because that is one of the more you know, biggest forte of Johnson & Johnson. As Karthik pointed out, it is known for its baby products. How serious are these allegations? What are the repercussions back home in India?
Yeah, I think this is a very, very important you know, I would say, allegation, and because it again brings attention to the fact that we continue to be served as consumers with products which are suboptimal, presumably, and until proven, you know. And as far as the baby powder business is concerned, or the baby care business for Johnson & Johnson is concerned, I mean, if you really see globally, it's a very small portion of the overall portfolio of the company. So I don't think they are as impacted on the revenue side as they are impacted, you know, on their brand image or the overall image of the corporate image of the organization. As far as India is concerned, there have been some very, very proactive actions which have been taken. We do know that the Maharashtra government had banned the sale and manufacturing of J&J talc powder in 2022. But the reason for that was because of higher pH levels, you know, where the permissible limit was about anywhere between 5.5 to 8, and the baby talc had about 9.8 pH levels. Similarly, the production got stopped at the J&J Mulund plant. And so there's been action being taken, but the matter of the fact is that uh, if I go to Amazon right now, I can actually buy the product. There is a claim that the product is now made from cornstarch and it no longer uses the same chemical combination which actually had the lawsuit against. So, but yeah, the trust deficit is very, very high. And as Karthik shared, you'd not want to trust it for your baby anymore.
Right, Saurabh, what does this do as a as a brand to J&J, not just in the US but in the rest of the world as well? So there were talks of J&J coming out against with a vaccine against COVID-19, for example, and for whatever reason it hasn't taken off. And at the same time, the company has very smartly followed what is known as the Texas two-step litigation process, where the talcum powder division was actually offloaded to a subsidiary which filed for bankruptcy. So they've sort of financially, been smart in evading direct liability. But then obviously there is a major hit to the brand J&J. So where does the brand go from here?
Yeah, you're right. And in fact, not just this particular crisis, and in fact, their attempt to shift it to the bankruptcy law has been put down by the courts, which is why they've now been forced to commit to it and to commit a fairly large claim value. Not that it's fully accepted yet, but it's not the first time that's happening to Johnson and Johnson. So you could say that a lot of the karma is really catching up. So just about 5 years ago, they were embroiled in a fairly significant opioid epidemic in the United States, and they were again a target of some very significant lawsuits. And they, along with three really large distributors, actually had to settle for about $26 billion. So they've been under this so-called lawsuit attacks now for a couple of years, and they have some serious thinking to do as far as their approach to product development is concerned, product marketing is concerned. I'm assuming that they would have taken some significant measures since some of these lawsuits really came up. But yeah, a lot of catching up for them to do. I mean, not that they have a significant drop in revenues overall as an organization, but the trust of the customers per se is really at an all-time low.